Today's video, we're going to talk about how to deal with bad reviews tanking your conversions or conversion rate on your PPC campaigns or any other traffic you're driving to your website. Could just be Google organic traffic, email marketing traffic, whatever. Now, if your reviews are bad enough, they will hurt your conversions at least 10%, if not 20, 30, 40, 50 plus. And I've actually seen this, and I'm going to talk about a few case studies where I saw different clients that had reviews so bad, they had to start all over again. The entire business had to be shut down. With that said, a lot of people also though deny it and they say, oh, I don't need to fix my bad reviews. Oh, I don't want to spend money on that. If you're making and spending any kind of money on advertising whatsoever and you have terrible reviews, you got to do something about it because you're throwing away 20, 30% of your ad spend on a consistent basis, not fixing it. And you can always fix it, like I'm going to talk about in today's video. And not necessarily what you think, which is just fixing the bad reviews, getting them deleted, which is something you could always do as well. And I'm going to talk about that. And I do mean always. Okay, there's a way to legitimately work with the platforms and through legal means get them deleted. Beyond that, there's also another way to actually fix your situation, even if you couldn't do that, which you can, and fix the dent in your conversion rate that these bad reviews are giving you. Even if your competitors are throwing negative reviews at you, you can still dig your way out of it just by taking some other actions that I'm going to talk about in today's video. So if you were wondering, A, how much this is affecting you, and then B, what to do about it, I'm going to answer both of those questions in detail on this particular video, and it will work for anybody. So, and if you stay to the end of the video, I will absolutely have a couple case studies for you on how somebody who basically could not make their ad campaign work anymore for an air duct cleaning company, we've turned things completely around and the campaign would start working again because of the negative reviews. Also, companies that had negative reviews so bad that they went out of business. I will talk about instances where I've seen that as well, along with the entire tutorial that I'm going to share here. So before I get into the content, if you do not know who I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability up front. Generally speaking, in excess of what we charge for management fees. And the reason why we're able to do that with no other firms doing that out there in the entire planet is because I got 20 years of advertising experience and work on every client campaign in terms of the strategy that we have at the firm. So you're getting a top expert working on your stuff that's already seen mostly everything and been there and done that. So that should tell you about the quality of the information that you're getting on today's video. And even though I'm an ad expert, I also understand the other tie-in parts of getting ads to work, fixing reviews, identifying when that's a problem, because I got to guarantee results for our clients. So with that said, I'm going to get into the content. Now, the best defense for negative reviews is really a great offense. And I know that's cheesy to say that. The best defense is a great offense. I've heard that so many times, but I don't have a better way of really wording it because the reality is, like, influencers or people with a lot of followers, they have a lot of customers, whatever, that are raving fans. They don't care about negative reviews because it doesn't actually affect them. I could show you many examples of online gurus that have 100,000 plus subscribers and they have a software product that has terrible reviews, and yet they're able to make that business work because at a certain level of influence, the reviews aren't going to affect you anymore. And you don't have to be Donald Trump for this to be the case. One that I'm thinking of is Alex Becker. He had different programs that you could go check the reviews on Google, and still to this day you could do this and see the reviews, and there's like 1 star after 1 star after 1 star after 1 star, but he still got hundreds if not thousands of customers who buy because he's got 500,000 YouTube subscribers. And people don't care at a certain point how many negative reviews you got once you get to a certain minimum level of influence, which should tell you something about the game of business, really. It's not about what you even have. It's about what people perceive you have that matters. And, ultimately, people only look at things at surface level. They use reviews to crucify you when you don't really have anything that shows that a mass of other people don't already like you, or you just really look attractive in some way. But when you don't have that, you really are open to competitor leaving you negative reviews, some customers who thought that they should get a refund and you weren't willing to give it to them, whatever, and you get negative reviews. The micro businesses are the opposite of that. Micro businesses will live or die by those reviews. You literally could go out of business just through getting negative reviews. Why? Because all your traffic doesn't convert very well anymore. And then suddenly you can't, there's no way to get customers anymore. I mean, I saw, just to give you one example, we had a company that pulls data off of hard drives. Like if your computer failed and you have an important file on a hard drive and you need to get it off of there somehow because it's really worth it for you you'll spend money to get it because it's important and you spent lots of time putting that file together in terms of the paper or Excel sheet or whatever it had on it. So you go to a data repair company or data recovery company, and you pay them and they'll get it off using various technical means. That company, I saw a guy that basically, he was basically saying completely that he had campaigns running for a while and he had to shut down his whole business once his reviews got so bad on Yelp that he just had to start up a whole new company. It just wasn't profitable anymore. And had to spend everything, redo the logo, redo the site. Naturally, if you're a service company, that's not too hard to do. In fact, if you've got an e-commerce site, it's also not that hard to do. But you're losing a lot having to restart all over again because all your backlinks are reset, all your authority with Google's reset. You're much better to take the advice of having a good offense so that the people that are going to come after you trying to leave bad reviews, even if a competitor does it to you, you're not going to be affected and it's not going to take out your entire business because it can. Now, with that said, here are the answers to be able to deal with bad reviews if you get them, even if you get a few or even if you get a ton of them. And the number one thing I have to mention right off the top is you get reviews deleted. Now, there is a lot of videos on YouTube and whatnot that'll tell you how to get rid of a bad Google review or how to deal with a bad Yelp review. And a lot of it just comes down to appealing it. You might hear somebody telling you that you can flag it, whatever. Most of this stuff isn't very effective unless it's a blatant fake negative review where somebody was like, I've got a whole video about just Google reviews and getting them removed that you could watch. You can search for it on my channel homepage. But the process is you go ahead and you try to flag it or dispute it. Then you go to appeal the dispute if it doesn't come out in your favor. Then if you're not able to do that, you go to the Google support forum and say, hey, why is this on here? Assuming it's a review that looks fake, you can only do it if it looks fake. If it's a legitimate looking review, you can try all that and say, hey, this really wasn't me, it was a competitor, and maybe it will work, maybe it won't. If you're not, then you need to go to a professional that knows how to get things handled through legal means. And the cost on that, as I mentioned on my previous video, at least for Google reviews, it's gonna be $1,000 a review, which I know a lot of people is gonna say, oh, I can't pay that. But reality is, every negative review you got, or should I say, we've done a study actually on this, in terms of what your conversion rates are on a 4.5 versus a 4 versus a 3.5 versus a 3. And your conversion rate on your ad traffic is just going to keep going down and down and down the more your average review rating goes down. Okay? So you don't really have a choice at a certain point. If it gets below a 4, you're going to get hit hard in terms of conversion rates. And not just 5% or something like that. We're talking 20, 30%. More so in markets where you are selling something that's more expensive, more than $100. Because there's a bigger risk involved with spending $2,000 for an air duct cleaning, and you want to generally read the reviews before you go ahead and sign the contract. You're going to go and type in your business name and then reviews after it. Read the reviews. If it's not good, you're not signing. Why? At least when there's another company you can hire that has a similar price and doesn't have all those stupid bad reviews. So why would you do that? Now, some people don't have time to do that, but a lot do, which is why you can easily, when you have a 3-star instead of a 4-star, go from your 5% conversion rate down to a 4 or a 3.5. And if you go from a 3 to a 2, it can take you from a 4% conversion rate down to 2.5, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse. So it's worth it to pay to get rid of the negative reviews from a person who does that. On that video I mentioned about removing Google reviews, I mentioned if you reach out to me, I've got a contact where I can refer you to that person that we basically have a partnership with, and that's what the cost is. You don't have to pay to reviews to be removed until it's already done. So this isn't for getting rid of legitimate bad reviews. This is technically, just to be clear, disclaimer, it's for not legitimate bad reviews, but it could get rid of any bad review technically. So you have that, and then if it's about Yelp, you can get Yelp completely de-indexed from Google so nobody will find it. You can also get Yelp de-indexed from Yelp search results so nobody can find it by searching for your business name on Yelp itself. And you can also reach out to me for the same thing. That service in particular costs roughly $4,000 to get yourself de-indexed, which a lot of people, I still don't understand, because I've had a few people reach out to me that wanted that referral, and they didn't pick up that, it was $4,000 to do this. They'll just say, oh, I don't care. I'll just leave the bad reviews. And it really baffles my mind why you would want, when somebody types in your company in reviews, to have a bunch of negative reviews on the first page of Google. Like that doesn't affect you at all. And that even if it affects you 1%, and you're doing $50,000 a month in sales right now, it's cost you $500 a month in sales revenue every single month. You obviously have to admit it's going to affect you at least 1% of your sales, when really it's 10% plus, to be actually truthful about it. So anyway, just as a funny kind of thing that I've seen, it takes a special kind of person to take it seriously, because you can't tangibly measure it. You can't see what your conversion rate decrease is, and unless you're a marketing expert, you're not going to really want to admit it to yourself. You're going to want to say to yourself, oh, I don't need it. I can take that $4,000 and spend it at the strip club this weekend. And that's what people do. So with that said, get them review deleted. If you have a competitor going after you, it may not even help, which means you have to start going into this other stuff. Give discounts to get reviews. So defense is a great offense. You go ahead and you tell your customers, we'll give you 20% off your next service if you give us a review, assuming they have to get a service regularly, or we'll give you another free product. Now this is technically bribing people for reviews, but if you want to know how these guys on Amazon or whatever get thousands of reviews, this is legitimately how they're doing it. If you just wait for your customers to review you, you ain't gonna get no freaking reviews. You gotta do this. Ultimately, they'll put a page in the package that they're shipping out with their product saying, if you give us a review, we'll send you a $20 product or a gift card or whatever. And that's how they're racking up all those reviews. But you can call it unethical all you want. When your competitors are doing it and they have more reviews, therefore they're going to buy from them more. And then and then on the flip side, you're leaving yourself open to only disgruntled people that want to leave a review, because good people who like your product or service don't want to leave reviews. Then you're going to be open to having a low score, and you're just going to go out of business. And then the competitor, which probably has a product compared to yours, then all the market then buys a product because you didn't have the guts to do what they were doing to be at least on a level playing field with them. So that's the way that I see it. And then on top of that, you can pay sales staff to get your reviews, or a secretary that answers questions, or customer service person. The guys that I normally deal with that do services, they have to pay their sales staff $100 a review to get them motivated enough anymore to get a review. If I'm going to make $200-300 on a sale, but I can get an extra $100 by asking them for a review after the delivery of the service, I'm going to be motivated enough to do it. If you're going to tell me you're going to give me $20, if you're going to tell me I need to do this, you're going to tell me I need to do it, or you're going to question my ability to do what I'm doing, I'm just going to say nobody wants to leave a review. Just take my word for it. Nobody's going to get you reviews at your company unless you majorly comp them for that, and in a significant way, or a very significant way. We've had people that had to offer even more than that for a review, because it's actually quite awkward and hard to ask for a review. If it's a carpet cleaning service, yeah, you can pay your $50 a review maybe, because there's tons of volume and people don't care to talk about their carpet cleaning service. If you're trying to get a review for your divorce law clinic, I'd pay $500 a review, because it's hard as hell to get somebody to review it legitimately. So something to think about. Number 4, get video testimonials. So here's where we start getting into the really good stuff. The answer isn't yes, you should try to proactively ask for reviews by paying people either directly or indirectly to leave the good reviews for you when you have happy customers. People more so, going back to what I was saying before, rely on reviews when they don't have anything else to rely on. When you haven't done the proper job marketing and merchandising your products and services, people use the reviews as the single source of truth. You don't want them to do that, because that leaves you open to competitors leaving you negative reviews and everything else. You want your business to be vulnerable to a competitor just doing that all of a sudden to you? The answer should be no. And the way that you do that is you have customers leaving you video testimonials, and you rack up at least 4, if not 10. You put those on your landing pages, and for each item, if you're selling different items and you can pull it off, and you put that in your remarketing sequence so people will see those as they browse the internet. It's where if they see a banner ad saying that you have a video testimonial, Mark said blah, blah, blah. Click here to see the whole review. That links to a YouTube video. They can watch the whole thing. We do this stuff all the time. You do this, and here's the deal. Here's the rub on this. People who see all those video testimonials and then they see them pop up on different sites when they're leaving your site and they're thinking about buying your product or service or just mulling over who they're going to actually deal with. They're going to be less likely to go type in your business name and the reviews after it when they go to buy, when they've seen all those testimonials. That's how this in particular increases your conversion rates again when you have negative reviews. It makes it less likely they're actually going to go look for it. People usually only look for the reviews when they go to buy, or if it's like $100 broken toilet service, they're going to look at it before they call. But generally speaking, if it's $1,000 product or service, they're going to wait a while and then they're going to buy and they're going to check the reviews right before they buy. If they see a load of customer testimonials, they're just going to be less likely to remember to look or feel like they have to look. So that's one way you do that. And then the other is you do influencer mentions. A lot of people get cheap on this. They don't want to spend money on this. And then they're leaving themselves open to a competitor, leaving negative reviews on them. You want to pay industry influencers or category influencers. So if you sell, let's say, a mailbox, get a beautiful home influencer who talks about house beautification, not mailbox reviews, to actually review your product. And then you put that on your landing page, and then you have that pop up again for people after they leave the site. And it just amplifies what you're able to do with regular customer testimonials because an influencer said it, therefore it must be true. Then you get into, I would also do always a BBB A+ rating, which I get people don't like to always open themselves open to all these different platforms. Therefore they have to manage different stuff. But the credibility you get from an A+ BBB rated company and rating is so significant now. You'll make your money back on that every time. At least when you're talking about like local services or more commodity services and like that, where it's hard to differentiate yourself. Do that. People see that on your landing page. They're going to be less likely to question and look for your reviews than if you didn't have it. On top of that, if they do go look at your reviews, they're less likely to believe it. If they see 10 testimonials, 2 influencers who have reviewed your product or service, they see your A+ BBB rated, they're going to be less likely to believe it. And then build a following to get customers, okay? Just like I mentioned with Alex Becker, he has all these followers, nobody questions his bad reviews, it doesn't matter anymore. The amount of followers it generally takes, as far as I've seen, for the reviews to not matter anymore is once you start getting into the tens of thousands of followers, which it takes a lot of work to get there. I admit this. However, you should be trying to do this anyway for your business because ultimately someday, if you plan on doing this business for a long time that you're in, someday, eventually, Google may not even work anymore and things may change. You may be relying heavily on Google and things change 10 years from now. It's always great insurance to have another way to get customers. And the best other way to get customers is by having a following itself, because there's no platform change for the most part that's going to screw everything up then. Because the platforms need you when you have a certain following to a certain regard. They want to need you, I should say. So not to say that YouTube could ever change the algorithm and screw up all your followers. And, that is obviously true. But in my opinion, every business that's running paid ads should be trying to build a following on the side, building that up over time. So eventually they're selling based upon being the brand, not just a well-placed vendor on Google at the right time and for the right person. Or, showing up at the perfect time for a person showing buying signals on Facebook specifically. That stuff's profitable. That's what I do every day in my day job. It doesn't mean you shouldn't also be trying to build a following on the side. I mean, ultimately, I started out doing that kind of direct one-to-one transaction stuff to get clients at our own firm. And then I started building a following, and it takes years to build a following, but eventually that's the way to go to build a really big company, because people, the ideal customers you want, are going to buy from the best. And they're going to find the best typically by seeing who's got the biggest following in your niche market. That's how they determine it most of the time, not just looking at the Google reviews by itself. There's some niches where you can't necessarily do it, but trust me, when you actually start get the following, you'll be a believer in it. It's just hard to get it off the ground, and it's like rolling the snowball. The initial stuff you do has no effect, but eventually it gets a little bit more, and eventually you just push the snowball a tiny bit and you're going to have a lot of money come out the other end. And that's the end, whether it takes a couple of years to get going. It took 2 years of running this channel before we really even got any clients at all from this channel, just me teaching what's working at our firm and so forth. To go back to the topic at hand here, you build the following up to create a fortress around your business. So if a crazy competitor tries to hit you with a bunch of negative reviews, you're not affected by it anymore. You've transcended being viewed as one of many vendors in your space. So therefore the reviews don't matter anymore. Now granted, if you had bad reviews, you would want to clean that up because it will affect you some. It's just not going to affect you nearly as much if you don't have any web presence. And basically that's all they have to go on is the damn reviews. Do you want everything that they're using to buy be based upon the reviews and have your competitor have that much control over you? No, you don't want that. So before I get into the case studies, if you want a little bit more advice on how to pep up your website, landing pages with this stuff to fix what the bad reviews you've got now are doing to you or just clear everything up, reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com. I would be happy to have a conversation with you about the topic of fixing all this up for you, what kind of results we can guarantee for you while we're at it. Give you about a couple dozen other ways to make your ads better or to run ads profitably while we're at it. And so I'd be happy to hear from you. That said, we also been selling ad templates recently to where we've worked in over 100 plus niche markets in the last decade plus of running this firm now. And if we've worked in a niche market that you've been in, you do yourself a huge favor buying out the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work for your niche market. Assuming you're in a market that our client isn't in geographically, different country, different city, whatever, you can use it and get the same results we're getting with none of the time, money, and effort it took for us to get those results. We got people using these templates to start whole their businesses on the side from scratch, diversify their income, whether they be using the template to generate leads and then flip the leads to businesses in that niche, or subcontracting out all the work and just having a service company that does no work internally and get somebody else to do it, but because they have the campaign template, they can make that work. Or they got into selling a product because they didn't know anything about it. They used one of our templates from one of our lists, e-commerce templates and ad campaign templates, to sell a product that they can easily get from China and sell it in a country that our client isn't in and have turnkey results with it. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. Before I do also mention on the case studies thing here, if you have any specific one-off questions about fake reviews, bad reviews affecting you, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. So beyond that, in terms of getting into the case studies now, so we had an air duct cleaning company that had bad reviews. We're talking, you Googled the company name and you found a 2-star review on the first page of Google when you typed in not only just the company name plus reviews, but the company name. And the client told me that the campaign that they had running for the air duct cleaning on Google was working for a long time and then it just stopped working. And just asking the questions, I basically understood that why it was working. They were getting a good ROI and then suddenly they weren't. And this was the big issue at hand here. So I diagnosed that and I told them, you got to basically get this fixed one way or another. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to do anything to get this fixed. It matters way more than you probably realize. But instead of just getting the Yelp listing de-indexed from Google, instead of doing that, we took the longer but better approach of getting a bunch of customers to review them on video and then loading them up in a grid pattern on the landing page for the people to see. And then also having to where if somebody goes to YouTube, that these video testimonials will pop up one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. And then banner ads that would, like I was explaining before, drive people to the same videos. Mary said great things about our air duct cleaning service. And then a quote, see video. And then they click and they go to the video. They can watch the whole thing. People will get bombarded as a result of this with all these customer reviews. The idea being that when people see all that, they're just like, oh, okay, obviously I can trust them. They just like shut their brain off at that point in time. Whereas they should be more critical, they aren't once they've seen that. And that cleaned up everything good enough, even without touching the search results, to get the campaign at least profitable, again, that it would be profitable, or that it would be profitable to run the ads again, and it was. And this actually made our campaign profitable again 2 different ways, technically. Like it will work for you if you do this. First of which is it's going to increase your conversion rate on your page, having those testimonials on there, which is why you should always do video testimonials on a landing page for that reason alone. but it also increased the closing rate on the leads that we created, because that was where they were getting hit before. They were getting the lead, they went to Google to check the reviews, there's garbage, they didn't buy, or not enough of them bought. Now, the closing rate on the leads that they have was still not as good as they had before they had all these reviews, but it did actually improve to where with the campaigns that they were running, they were only closing like 5-10% of the deals that they were getting through the campaign and the leads they were getting from the campaign. Once we actually got the testimonials and that whole remarketing campaign promoting the testimonials going, the closing rate went all the way up to about 15%, which is a lot closer where it needs to be. Ideally, it would be closer to 20-25%, but it got us halfway back. But even though the closing rate wasn't great, we got significantly more leads when we added the testimonials to the landing page. So we got another 25-30% more conversions on the same exact ad traffic that we had before. The combination of the efforts got the campaign back into positive ROI territory again, similar to what they had before, which is what will basically happen to you if you do this. And as far as video testimonials go, it's not that hard. You have people do it on their phone. You say, here's 3 questions, which if you want to know what these are, you can email me and I'll give them to you. But here's 3 questions I want you to answer on camera. Just simply take your iPhone, hit record. It's going to be a 2-minute video or less, and just send it back to us. And that's all you have to do. And ultimately, there's some programs out there where they can easily shoot the video within a software program. And once the video is recorded, it'll immediately send that video to you. If you want to know more about that, I'll also let you know. But basically, questions, and also regarding that, it's why did you hire us? What did you think about the service? Is there anything you would recommend to any other customers? That's the basic format I would go with that works really well to increase conversion rates. Because it actually does more than just gives people, hype you up. It actually gives them information about, the service itself. They did a kitchen remodel, I'm doing that, and here's what they would recommend for me. And so it works better than just saying, oh, the company's great, and then there's no information there to actually glean anything from. With that said, ultimately, and I talk about, implementing this stuff on the landing pages and get the most mileage out of it. All that information's on this channel covered, and this is exactly what I do on this channel, which is talk about ads, landing pages, tracking. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you want to get rich running ads for your business, then you want to subscribe to this channel because it has it all, and it comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm and learn everything that works actively on an ongoing basis, which I share on the weekends when I make this content on this channel. So if you're going to pay attention to anything, you want to pay attention to the video content on this particular channel and subscribe if you haven't. And then also I got a great blog you should also check out at my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where I outline all the strategies we're using to guarantee results for clients. And with that, the screenshots and everything you need to be able to replicate those strategies, they're all there listed for you to be able to use. So I definitely recommend you check that out as well. But with that said, getting back into the case studies here, I mentioned a data recovery company that completely went out of business once they started getting bad reviews. We also seen before a pet store as well. The pet store itself started to get either one or multiple competitors starting to leave them negative reviews, and they were really circling the drain in a similar way as the data recovery company. And except for a brick and mortar store like that, which is what this was, it's not so easy to switch names, so to say. I mean, and when you're already hurt from the revenue loss from the negative reviews and going to them and saying you need to rebrand everything, it's not an option. What do? We got not only video testimonials going on the page, we got local industry influencers. And so influencers in that city talking about how much they love that store, they trust that store, and also implemented that on the landing pages, worked this into the remarketing, and then saved basically that entire company doing this. Because the first thing I always do now at our firm, when we have to guarantee results for clients, I'm going to go look at the reviews of the company. If the reviews are terrible, I'll generally tell them, hey, look, we can't work together unless you fix this first, or you got to agree that we're going to have a plan here to instantly fix this. This is the first thing we do, because it's going to be extremely hard for the ads to work without giving people enough confidence that when you say you can do X, Y, Z, that they'll actually believe you can do it. So I'm always checking into that, and I'm regularly telling clients, okay, you need to put this much money into fixing your reputation up front if you expect this to work. And we're always we're looking at that first. So if you're stuck at where you're at in terms of revenue, maybe it's not your reviews, maybe it's your ad quality, maybe it's your pricing. If you want to know where you're bottlenecked at, reach out to me and I recommend you do a 30-minute coaching call with me, as I can go through and ask you a few questions like that and pretty much 95% of the time realize where the bottleneck is and tell you what to fix so you can get the ads working for yourself again. And every single person that, since I started doing these coaching calls in the last 6 months, that's gotten a call has come back for more calls. So this information that I give on these coaching calls, if you still like to manage your own ads, is highly, highly useful, because I'm able to, and having had worked with hundreds of companies now, I understand where the bottlenecks are that make ad campaigns successful or not successful, and what we need to fix to get ads working, because I do this all the time. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. With that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said negative reviews was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.